Yeah, I'm John Hibbins, part owner of Psytec Games Limited. Well, I'm absolutely delighted to announce that we are now, Windlands has joined us as part of Psytec Games. So we are going to be actively developing Windlands. I suppose the words are publishing Windlands, operating the stores, and bringing Windlands to market as the best game that we humanly can bring it to market on. Well, we've been working on Crystal Rift for a long time now, so it's over 2 years worth of development, and we're actually getting towards the end of Crystal Rift as development, so it's got clearer and clearer that where the end point was. Yeah, so we were looking for something anyway, but actually the story, the Windlands was quite an interesting story. We were at Facebook, we got invited to Facebook to see some, the CV1 and talk and ask lots of questions and spend a day at Facebook. So at Facebook I met Ilya. Ironically, I didn't know what game he was working on. I had no idea. I don't think he knew what I was doing either. We just met as people, you know, and he's Finnish and my wife's Finnish. So I started talking to him a little bit in my crude, bad accent Finnish, yeah, got a conversation started. And then 10 minutes later, one of my colleagues says, "Oh, that's Ilya. He does Windlands." And I'm like, I very rarely get, you know, excited about meeting developers. I meet a lot of developers, and but Ilya's one of the people that, you know, I really respect what he was doing. I passionately like Windlands myself, so it's quite interesting that I met Ilya at all. You know, I played the original demos that were out on Windlands for hours, probably like most people do that fell in love with Windlands, you know, trying to get to the most extreme positions and trying different routes and just learning the mechanics. And so yeah, I played it for hours and hours. I backed the original Indiegogo campaign, so I'm one of the original backers there, and really liked Windlands, so I've kept an eye on it. And there's very few games that do that to me. As a publisher, that's quite interesting as well, whether you're looking for other content or not, is that, you know which VR games that appeal to you. I think there's subsectors and genres that appeal to people generally. So, you know, I play a certain type of game, I look for a certain type of game, but Windlands ticked a lot of boxes for me, and there's nothing quite as empowering or as exciting as swinging through the trees. So I got speaking to Ilya and, you know, started asking all the questions as a fan would, really. It's like, where are you, what are you doing, you know, how's the going? And I think the more and more I spoke to him, the more and more we got to know each other. So yeah, no, I took it offline, carried on Skyping, conversations with Ilya, and really just wanted to help. It's as simple as that. You know, I absolutely wanted to see the game come to life and meet its potential. So, you know, we spoke about everything from the details behind the levels to how level construction was taking place, what was the overall story, what was the, you know, just started to break it down to help as much as I could. And anyway, the long and short of it is we spent a lot of time talking, got to know each other, decided to reach a heads of terms, getting involved, bring Nick on board as well. Obviously there's NDAs and things, so we've got all those done, and yeah, we started that conversation about how Psytec Games could help, what could we do to help, and it became really apparent that there was a lot of things we could do to help. We could help financially by putting money, you know, behind the game. You know, we could help with project management, delivery, and skills, because we've, you know, got a lot of skill and of delivering sprints and delivering on time quality products and understanding the vision and not letting feature creeps happen, and, you know, various other things. But mostly skill, just mostly actually a team of people that know VR, that have done it, that understand it, and can actually help without all of that pain that takes years to learn. So when all of those things came together, it became really transparent. It was a really strong team. Ilya's incredibly talented as well, so adding him into Psytec Games became an important thing for us. And Simo being a musician and music person that's really talented as well. It just really clear, very, very transparent that it was a fit. So once we got through that heads of terms, we started actually working on product together, just to try it, make sure that we all understood how each other works on the team. And you know, here I am a few months later, really, and the deal's done, so to speak. We've signed the contracts. Psytec Games now owns the IP for Windlands, but very much has Ilya and Simo in part of Psytec Games as well, and we're working on this every day now, and they are as well. So yeah, it was just really transparent. It was a great fit. But we went right back to basics. We really did go back to, I mean, partly to educate the people that weren't involved with Windlands from the start, but secondly, to give foundation and solid foundation to where we were going and what we were doing, because there's no point doing a project if nobody understands the vision and where it's going. So we took it right down back to basics for everything from what are its USPs, what's its core storyline, what you know, are we having collectibles, what do those collectibles do, what's strong about the essence of Windlands, and how do we keep that? Because we're very aware of that it's a beautiful game. We very much wanted to enhance the beautiful game and turn it into a real game that had longevity, style and story, and so Windlands is beautiful, but it has got obvious flaws in flow. You know, you don't feel like there's highs and lows and successes, and you know, there were a lot of people getting to the top of like the robot or whatever, and it's like there's nothing there, there's no reward, and it's like, you know, so there were obvious basic things that just needed to be discussed about what are the rewards in Windlands, how do we pace the gameplay, how do we create a flow that's magical, how do we also, you know, work on the design so that it pleases the broad range of customers, because there's extremely, you know, skilled Windlanders, I don't know if that's a word, but we'll say it today, that are all about timed runs and all about the magic of finding the flow between the objects that they're travelling and traversing. And then on the other end there's people that just like to explore. You know, how can we reward all of those people with hidden locations or timed runs and so on? And we think going back to the basics, working all those things out as you know, and agreeing them and saying, yes, we've got it, we know what we're doing, has worked out really well. And you know, if you had the insight into how we're running the sprints right now, we're very, very clear on what the stories are and what we're delivering, and it's great progress. We're not really quite ready to show it because we want to give something that's right. So we're giving, you know, we're trying to get into beta. Sorry, we are going to be into beta soon and give the Indiegogo people our first draft of the first section of the game. And in that process, we're very clear that we're not, you know, we know what we'd like to do. I'll give you a perfect example. We've had a recent discussion about picking the point where you first get your hooks. There's actually a first off, these are your hooks, and you know, it's great. We've done a brand new model for that, it looks wonderful, you know, and we were discussing it would be great if they sort of flew off and flew into your hands sort of thing, and it's like, well, yeah, it would, but those type of details are left for slightly later in the game because there's so many other things we can have impact on now. So we're taking decisions like that perhaps if you hadn't got the experience producing a full game, you'd probably start over engineering and doing too much in one area and not really affecting the overall game. So we understand there's a bit of magic to Windlands, the unlimited draw distance and some of the ways that the levels are constructed and some of the technology behind the scenes is really clever. So we're adding to that as well. We understand that now, and we're putting energy into enhancing it and making it, you know, as good as possible. But Windlands has also needed quite a lot of engineering just at the basic levels to make sure that we've got things covered. So we've just introduced support for multi-controllers and devices, so that's why I'm happy to announce that we support PS4 and Xbox One controllers, and in fact, to go one step further, we've now got Vive support as well. So it's an oft asked question, are you going to introduce hooks with the controllers? And the answer is yes, and it's brilliant. It's unique. We'd love to be on PS4, and it's certainly an objective, and you know, simple as that really. But short term, having Vive support's been the best route to getting that option explored, because we've obviously got Vives and we've spoke to Valve and they're very supportive of seeing where we go with it really. I think Windlands is very accessible. A lot of people, you know, there's nothing horror about it in comparison to other games. There's nothing scary about it. Maybe the heights is a bit scary for some people. When they get very high, they get outdone. But it's a very accessible game. It's a beautiful game. It's, you know, hopefully everybody's going to want to play it, and we will do our best to make sure to minimise or reduce or get rid of sickness as much as possible. We've already used a lot of the skills that we've got inside Crystal Rift to help Windlands as well. So, and Ilya's also done his own experiments, so things like floating cubes and floor markers and you know, the static turning and things like that. The acceleration in Windlands is quite clever. It's not linear, and it's you know, accelerates very quick, so that helps as well. So you've got very, very slow, very, very quick, and that helps. So, and we'll continue to do more. I don't want to break Windlands. Windlands is a special thing, and you know, if people are concerned about sickness, well, everybody's individual, but I think there's a place for the more hardcore games, and I want, you know, to recognise that myself rather than be embarrassed about it. I'd rather say, well, no, absolutely, we want to, you know, it's a great game, play it.